So this is the Arduino book circuit number 7. This is controlling or using the Arduino for input instead of output. So instead of letting the Arduino code dictate what everything does, we're now inputting and telling the code what we want it to do. So we are using obviously 5 volts and ground. We have an LED hooked up with a 560 ohm resistor, and we have two 10 kilo ohm resistors for each input of the button. In this experiment we're only going to use one button. We're only going to use this button. So when the buttons are not pressed, the voltage is in a float mode, or what we call a float mode, inside the button. And when it's in float, it can cause error. So that's why there are one 10K resistor for each button to stabilize it so that the light is always lit when it's not depressed. So when we depress the button, the light goes out. When we let the button off, the light comes back on. So when we press the button, we're telling the Arduino to put the power to low to turn the light off. When we unpress it, we're telling it to put it to high or to float. For the circuit number 7 in the Arduino book, this is the code for the turning on and off the LED with the push button. The code in the Arduino doesn't register whether the push button is pushed in the sense that we do. It registers the voltage going across it. So in this sense, we have the number of push buttons on the pin, and it's connected to the LED is connected to pin number 3 on the Arduino. This is the variable so that the push button can be read, or the Arduino can read the status of the push button, whether it's pushed or unpushed. This is the loop, so when this is saying that when they initialize the LED, the input is, or the LED output, and this is the LED input. This is the loop code, so to push the button, this is what it's going to read, and the output is high, and that's what turns it on. Again, so if the push button is output is high, then it will turn the LED to high. If the push button is on low, then the LED will be low, essentially turning the LED off. That's how the LED push button works. The making it better portion. What I'm doing now is using both of the push buttons instead of just one. So right here in this part of the code, I've declared the two inputs, pin number 3 and pin number 2. So they each have their own push button that they're assigned to. Down here is the code that I changed so that it will use both of the push buttons. Pin number 1, or push button number 1, will turn the LED off, and pin number 2, or push button number 2, will turn it back on. So essentially, if you push the on button, which is pin number 2, the LED will come on. If you push that again, it will just stay on. It won't do anything else. It won't affect it because you've already pushed it. If you turn it off with the off button and you push the off button again, it won't turn it back on or make it do weird things. It'll just stay off. So essentially, each button does its own thing, and you can push it as many times as you want, and it won't affect what it does. That's that part. This is now making the same two push buttons. Now, instead of turning the LEDs all the way on and all the way off, we're now using the on button as an increase. What we're doing is using it to increase intensity every time you push the button. So we start out very low, and as you push the button more and more, the intensity goes brighter and brighter and brighter until you hit its max. And then using the off button, or now the low button, we're decreasing that intensity by a certain amount each time you push the button until it goes off. So it no longer turns it on and off in one step. You can control the intensity of it. The last bit right there, the delay, gives it time to actually decrease in intensity so you can actually see it. So if we didn't have that, you wouldn't actually be able to see it, the intensity increase or decrease over time. It happened too quick. So that's the making it better.